I had always thought lighthouses were safe, stoic, guiding lights for the lost. That summer, I took the keeper's job on Crow's Point, a tiny, storm-battered island miles from the mainland. The old lighthouse had been abandoned for years. No tourists, no boats, just the relentless crash of the sea and the wind that never seemed to sleep. The first night, I climbed the spiraling iron staircase to the top, lantern in hand, trying to shake the unease settling deep in my bones. The lamp hadn't worked in decades, but after a bit of coaxing, I got it lit. The beacon swung lazily across the waves, a weak halo against the thick, swirling fog. But then I noticed something strange. Shadows. They weren't from the lamp, but from behind me, stretching long and thin across the floor. I spun around. Nothing. Just empty walls and the echo of my own boots on the iron stairs. I laughed nervously. "It's just the wind," I told myself, my voice barely a whisper against the gale. But later, I began to hear voices. They were low, unintelligible murmurs carried on the wind from the edge of the cliffs. Whispers that seemed to rise from the dark water itself. They weren't calling to me, not at first, but I could feel them watching, observing, and slowly, a horrifying realization dawned on me. I couldn't leave. Every attempt to descend the lighthouse was met with a dense, impenetrable fog that never lifted, no matter how fast I moved. It was like the island itself was holding me captive. On the third night, the whispers grew louder, clearer. "Stay, stay." They moaned in a chilling unison that vibrated through the stone walls. I could barely breathe, a heavy weight pressing on my chest, yet I felt an undeniable compulsion to climb to the top, back to the lantern room. When I reached it, I saw them, figures in the mist, tall and faceless, their eyes glinting like wet stones in the weak light. They moved in perfect silence, circling the lighthouse, getting closer and closer. One reached for the glass. I watched, paralyzed, as it pressed its face against the window. Its mouth opened impossibly wide, stretching into a silent scream that I could feel in my mind, a psychic shriek that tore at my sanity. The beacon's light flickered once, twice, and then went out, plunging me into absolute darkness. In that suffocating blackness, I felt a cold hand grip my shoulder. I spun around, nothing. But when I turned back to the window, the figures were closer, their shapes almost inside the room. Panicked, I grabbed the emergency flare from my pack and slammed it against the glass with all my might. The red flare exploded in a brilliant, blinding light, and for a precious moment, the figures dissolved back into mist. I didn't wait. I ran. Down the stairs, my feet pounding a frantic rhythm on the iron, but each step felt longer, heavier, as if the lighthouse itself was resisting me, trying to pull me back. Behind me, I heard the slow, dragging sound of footsteps that weren't mine, echoing in the spiraling darkness, following me, relentless and unhurried. When I finally reached the bottom, the heavy wooden door wouldn't open. It was jammed shut. I was trapped. Then, a single voice, clearer than all the others, whispered right beside my ear, "Why did you come back?" I turned, my heart a hammer in my throat. A figure stood at the edge of the landing. A girl, maybe 10 years old, pale as the fog, her eyes hollow and endless. She tilted her head, and a slow, unnerving smile stretched across her face, a smile that didn't reach her vacant eyes. "You belong here now," she said. In that instant, the door flew open. I bolted into the fog, not daring to look back. I don't know how long I ran, my lungs burning, the jagged rocks tearing at my clothes. But when I finally risked a glance over my shoulder, the lighthouse was gone. Just a jagged rock and the crashing waves. I never returned to Crow's Point. I never told anyone what really happened. But sometimes, on stormy nights, when the wind howls just right, I swear I can see a faint light swinging in the far distance, and I can hear whispers on the wind, calling me back. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.